All my friends think my girlfriend is creepy. Are they right? Hi Reddit, I started dating my girlfriend, let's call her Alice, about 7 months ago. We met while working on a group project for one of our college classes. From the moment I met her I felt an instant connection. She was beautiful, smart, and we shared a bunch of common interests. Long story short, we flirted for a few weeks before I finally asked her out, and we've been happily going out since. Now here comes the problem. About a month ago my friends and I were planning to hang out and I invited Alice. While me and Alice are from the same hometown, we met during college and a majority of our relationship has been during the school year. While we know each other's college friends, we'd never met each other's hometown friends. I know that Alice has really bad social anxiety, so I was hesitant to invite her at first, but when I did ask she seemed nervous but really excited. The party seemed to go really well. Alice was smiling and laughing the whole time and even got to go on a rant about a topic she really liked. When it was over she even told me while I was taking her home how much she liked my friends. When I asked my friends what they thought of Alice, they all said she seemed nice. All except my best friend Ruben, 22M. When I asked him, he told me that he hated her. I immediately questioned why. Hoping it was them not mixing well, as I can acknowledge that Ruben and Alice are complete opposites when it comes to interests and personality, but Ruben told me he hated her because of how creepy she is and I was better off dumping her. Now this threw me off, as I had never once considered Alice creepy. She's actually the cutest girl I'd ever met, and I've never felt more comfortable around someone as I do around her. Before I could even ask what he meant, he went off on a rant about how uncomfortable she made him and started citing stories I told him about our dates during college. Stuff like how she'd stare at me without saying anything and just enjoyed looking at me, how she eat the same meals whenever we went to dinner, how unjealous she was when a girl came up and flirted with me, or about her deep knowledge of poisons and love for murder mysteries and true crime. Both of which she could talk about for hours, but neither of which she actually talked about at the party. He said that while he wrote them off before since they didn't seem to bother me, which they don't, but that after meeting her in person and seeing how weird and flighty she was, he can tell that she's a secret psycho and will end up either breaking my heart or physically hurting me. I tried to explain to him how any weirdness was probably just because she was nervous about meeting them for the first time, but he insisted that we've had friends SOS have anxiety before and it was that she was plain weird. I blew him off at first cause he sounded fucking crazy. Alice isn't perfect but she's far from creepy, but after 2 weeks of him telling me to dump her and me getting tired of telling him to drop it, I reached out to a few of our friends to prove him wrong, but to my surprise they all agreed that Alice was creepy. Most of them said that the way she spoke really threw them off, which is fair since Alice can be weirdly formal sometimes, but I didn't notice her doing that at the party at all, and typically it's much more funny than unsettling. Most of my friends told me it wasn't enough to break up with her since they still genuinely found her sweet and fun to be around, but I did have one other friend say it was worth breaking up over and he was just too embarrassed to tell me at first. I have no plans of breaking up with Alice because all the stuff they're calling creepy I find cute when she does, but are they right? Is it creepy she does that stuff? Should I talk to her about it? Should I just tell my friends to fuck off and ignore their concerns? I feel bad for even questioning about this, but with all my friends agreeing it's starting to gnawing at me and I just need some clarification if it's actually creepy or if they're just being dramatic. Comment. As a woman who has, in my past, been like this, I only ever wanted to find someone who loved me and my weirdness, almost like no one truly understood me or cared enough. I have now found that and I'm 35. So if she is just a little weird, with no underlying psycho, it matters what no one thinks and do not let that influence your decisions. My biggest advice is being supportive and taking an interest/listening to her passions. She kinda sounds like she is nice and possibly loyal, but I don't know her. That's the kinda girl you want to cherish and protect. Speaking from experience of myself. Agree with this. I'm a creepy girl into murder docs, anatomy, and all things weird. My house has always been strange. The hubs is into it. Ops mate is being dramatic. She isn't going to kill anyone, he's just jealous. It only matters what you think, and trust me, once you get into your 40s only the real weirdos are your friends and they are there to stay. Keep the weirdo, lose the jealous ass. And as long as you love each other like Morticia and Gomez you'll be fine. I legit kept the skeleton of a duck we lost to illness to articulate. I teach science and I love all the weird things. Told my husband, he shrugged and said it sounds fun. I'm always doing weird shit, he finds me adorable. If both people are happy then all is good. Ruben sounds miserable. So he's uncomfortable with her staring at you, eating the same meals as you, and trying to be cool around you when girls flirt. That is odd, that's all very normal things. As far as the true crime stuff goes, that interest is actually very normal as well, that's why it's one of the top TV/movie categories in our country. The fact he's continuously telling you to dump her and borderline obsessing over it, I would assume he has a crush on you. He sounds jealous. You need to talk to him because his behavior is completely inappropriate and cruel towards her. Look, I was the creepy girl according to some of my husband's then boyfriend's friends in high school and college. I had a deep love of the macabre and horror. I also love reading about serial killers. My husband then boyfriend was the absolute opposite of me in everyday shape and form. Think varsity jock type. But he decided to follow his heart. He asked me out and the rest is history. We have been together for 31 years. I asked him before why he didn't listen to his friends about dumping me. He said it was simple really. His friends had this idea of the type of person he should be with. But not once did they ask him who was the type of person he wanted to be with. You need to live your life for you, not your friends. Wishing you the best. She sounds wonderful. As a neurodivergent woman I've been seen as the creepy girl by neurotypical people because of the way I talk and my intense interests. No offense, but your friends sound boring and not accepting of people who aren't like them. If she makes you happy, that's all that matters. I have a lot of the same traits, and when I started dating my husband 6 years ago, he got a lot of criticism for dating me. Now we aren't friends with those people and they're still alone while we've been happily married for 3 years, and are expecting our first child. Date the weird girl, we can be pretty fun. Next story 2. I feel like my BF never really moved on from his ex, how do I deal with it? So, I had been hooking up with my boyfriend for 9 months before he started implying that he was in love with me. I wasn't there yet but decided to give it a shot. We had been seeing other people in that 9-month period, as we were in different cities for college. After I decided to give it a shot, we spoke about everyone we had been seeing and he told me he hooked up with his ex right after I said yes to giving dating a shot to dating, but before he officially asked me out. He also told me he used to like his best friend recurringly and a week before we started dating he thought he felt something toward her. During our relationship of a year, I was constantly insecure about the ex, and he used to keep in touch with her once in a while. I tried telling myself it was okay but something felt off. The first month of his dating he went to a party and came back drunk because he was really upset seeing his ex hook up with someone else in front of him. He said that he wouldn't even kiss his GF in front of her. It hurt me a lot but I didn't know if it was okay. Eventually it got to a point where I was really upset due to the way he would talk about her and the instances that happened before because they dated for 3 years and he seemed to care about her a lot. He finally agreed to stop talking to her but insisted that it was unnatural for him to do. He also once responded with "I don't know" when I asked him if he would ever want to get back together. One other time he was wearing a perfume that I liked, and I said it's like his natural scent and he got uncomfortable. When I asked him why he said it's because it was her perfume and she gifted it to him, a woman's perfume. I have no idea why he would wear it. He insisted that he liked it. This had been a constant insecurity in our relationship along with the best friend and a few other girls. Recently I asked him why she's still on his spam account and he said that it's beefy to remove her, I felt like even after all this time my feelings are being disregarded, and said that I think we should break up if he still doesn't understand. He keeps insisting that he just wants to be nice to everyone, but I felt so upset throughout, and I'm really tired of feeling like he had never really moved on. Comment. In my opinion, this seems to be too much drama for your first relationship. I can understand not wanting to be controlling and whatnot, but if you yourself aren't comfortable with his relationship with his ex, then you have every right to break things off because of it. But at the same time, if you don't want to break things off, which is very understandable, then you might have to deal with his thoughts about his ex. I do find it weird how sensitive he is about it, given that he is with you now, and not his ex. It's a rule of thumb to not date again if you aren't over your ex, and this seems to be the case. I see. Well, it does seem like he made an effort. Him going no contact shows that. With that being said, it's now on you to see if you can accept his past actions and to understand that he's moved on, from what it seems like. I know it must feel weird, and it's hard to trust that there could be no bad actions going on in the background. I'm usually a person to assume the best until the worst happens, just for my sake and happiness. So if he hasn't done anything outright wrong against you, and he's adamant that he's over her, then maybe take some time to try and accept that fact. The spam thing is a little weird, but social aspects like that I wouldn't take too seriously. If you catch them talking or notice any weird behaviors, then I'd be suspicious. But it's just photos on Instagram, I wouldn't take it as a big deal. Well, from my POV it seems like you know what you need to do. It sucks that you had to experience this on your first relationship, but at this age it does get hard to find someone truly unproblematic. I'm 23. There are definitely some trust issues that might come about from this, if not already there, so maybe you do need the alone time to be able to get over it. I say get over it because I've been in your shoes, and it took me a long time to change from the insecure person I was, and to just let things happen. That's not to say if something was obviously happening and it was against me, I would drop them. I know how it feels to have little things make you feel super insecure, and I would just sit there and compare myself to other people, and reading into every little thing. It's not healthy, and it seems that you know that. Take some time right now to sort your feelings out, and give it a day or two. I always tried to not make decisions when I would get in my own head, and that has always saved me trouble. Next story 3. I am worried about my GF of 1 year. I think I'm the problem. I am 23M. My GF flirts with people quite often. This isn't new to me, and I knew this before dating her. It's something she warned me about before we got together. That's fine, people flirt when in relationships, it's human nature, and she takes it no further, just flirting. We've ironed out anything that may have made me uncomfortable, and even flirting is minimal these days. Anyway, that is relevant, but I'll cut to the important part. I was on the phone to her, and a colleague overheard her talking to me and said another boyfriend. And she laughed and said yeah, presumably going along with whatever joke he was trying to make about her, probably because she's flirty. But my issue that I need advice with, and it's more about me than her, as I feel like it's me that is the problem here, is that my mind, I suffer with OCD and I'm coming out from it, but I'll always have OCD, has latched onto it. I can't stop thinking about it, and it's making me think things like who else is she calling boyfriend, etc. I know it's just in my mind, but is there any advice you good people could give to help me let go of such pointless anxious thoughts? We're long distance, in the same country, and see each other at least once a month for 5 days at a time. When we can't be together in person, we're both working or video calling and watching movies and shows together. This is relevant because when I approached her, I feel like it was a compulsion. If my past OCD experiences are anything to go by, about it she said even if I wanted to, when would I have the time? Which is true. The times where we have no contact, she's either sleeping, watching TV with her mom, or getting ready for work. It's just exhausting living with my mind working the way that it does. I know this is me blowing a simple and innocent joke out of proportion, to the point that she is annoyed with her colleague for saying that. So, what I'm truly asking is, how do I let go of what was just a dumb joke? Maybe this is the wrong place to post, I'm not sure, I apologize if it is.